Okay, day 49, and yesterday the rain actually held up. It was pretty good. Pretty good. Didn't get wet. Working a little blister on my left inside, and something new. The big toe on my right foot. I'm getting a bit of a I don't know what they call it. Anyway, it's a nerve pain. Something going on there, But anyway, we'll work through it. Today's blog is going to be about it's about bullying and how it relates to child trafficking, and it's a very interesting blog. And you know, when you look at mass awareness, you look at bullying. You know, the mass awareness now, bullying isn't cool. You know, you know, if somebody's called a bully, that's a really bad thing now, because of this mass awareness. And that's what we're trying to create with child trafficking. You see, there are 15-year-olds out there pimping 12-year-olds, making and the 15-year-olds are you know, they're making $5,000 a week, and they're cool. You know, in their little group, they're considered cool. But yet, if we can create mass awareness, then being a 15-year-old pimp making $5 grand a week won't be cool. But only mass awareness, just like bullying, that mass awareness for that will have a big impact. One of the keys about mass awareness is sharing. You know, sharing these videos. You know, you look at what went on in Orlando or Fort McMurray, and these are disastrous, terrible things that happen, and everybody's talking about it. You know, I mean, that's a real mass awareness about like ISIS and all these type of things. But you know, that's 50 kids in Orlando. What we're talking about is 50,000 or maybe 100,000 children just in Canada right now being brutally raped. I mean, and nobody's talking about it. That's why we have to create this mass awareness. But you know, it only happens through sharing. If you share this, a lot more people. I mean, if everybody that saw this particular video today shared it, we touched 30, 40,000 people. But for some reason or other, only a handful of you will share it. Now, is it because, maybe you think your friends will unfriend you? I don't know why somebody wouldn't share this. But anyway, that's the situation. I don't mean to be critical, but apathy is the reason why child trafficking has flourished in Canada. Because nobody does anything about it. Nobody shares it. Nobody lets other people know. I talked to a fellow yesterday, and I asked him, he's probably 45, 50 years old. His name was Gerald. He stopped in a van just to see if I needed some help. He told me a couple of months ago that there was an Indian girl that was walking along, a First Nations girl, walking along, trying to raise awareness for the plight of the First Nations children in reference to child trafficking. And of course I told him, I said, yeah, it's a real big problem. Now, I wasn't aware that anybody was walking. Nobody, and it's really unfortunate. I would have supported something like that, because it's really important. And I would have shared it and probably contributed to it, from the aspect of some kind of financial help. But I never heard about it. And I asked Gerald, I said, how many, I told him about child trafficking. He didn't really know too much about it. I said, how many kids do you think are involved in child trafficking in Canada? And you know what? He said, about 100. That's what he said, 100. That's what he thought. And I said, well, it's more probably closer to 100,000. And for him, that was a massive shock. He couldn't believe. I mean, there was, well, I can't tell you what he said because there were curse words. He said, what's that about? Kind of thing. Anyway, the point is that he didn't know, but now he knows, you see. And that's the way people's reaction are. Once they know, they want to tell other people. So everybody's talking about Orlando right now, but is anybody talking about child trafficking? So apathy, Laodicean, whatever word you want to call it, if you don't share this, if you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. It really is that simple. People won't unfriend you. And you know what? By sharing this, you may save a child. You just might. So please, for the love of God, for the love of these children, please share this video.